Right, first things first, cast the Daredevil. Now, if they have a Pact of Negation, our entire plan is ruined. So let's see. Yeah, we're going to Rebuke. We'll target that. So that will slow them down significantly. We're going to be able to swing in here. And then their next turn... Wow, defeat them with their own Rebuke. That's insanity. That felt incredible. So the way I thought I would make the deck is to create an Exile Tribal deck. And the way you want to make this happen is essentially I've gone for a lot of things which have Foretell, which means you exile it and you can cast it from exile by paying its Foretell cost. Whenever you do that, you will be gaining a treasure, which is really awesome. Stuff like Chandra as well is really powerful because she lets you exile the top card of your library and then you may play it this turn. There's quite a few effects like this. Chandras tend to exile cards and lets you play it later on. Light of the Stage is just a classic example of exiling the top 2 cards of your library and until turn you can play them, so you have to think outside the box. Effects like this. There's a few enchantments and creatures that also do this. Theatre of Horrors puts cards away underneath as well, and whenever you deal damage you can cast the cards underneath. You can also pay 4 to deal 1 damage to opponent or planeswalker, and then you've got Florine, which does similar. Whenever an opponent's dealt damage at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, you get to look at the top X cards, where X is the total number of life your opponent's lost, and you can exile one of those cards and play it until turn. So there's loads of stuff like this that lets you think outside the box. That's why it's Exile Tribal, and it's really cool the things you can actually use which have Exile written on them. And it will make you kind of use cards that you didn't really think worked like that, like Rob the Rich, for example, exiles cards and you can cast them. So if you want to see the whole deck list, it will be in the description below. And don't forget to leave me a like and a sub. If you appreciate the channel, it really helps, honestly. It really helps so greatly. And if you don't do anything, just sub. And if you want to go the further mile, then take a look at my Ko-fi donations page, where you can donate any amount of money, and that money just goes towards just little things, really. Buys me a coffee when I go out, just brightens my day. Something as small as that can really impact my life. So thank you very much if you do look at the page, and let's get into the gameplay. Of course, the mono blue matchup, the most enjoyable matchup there is of all time and space. So it could be a mill build, but it's going to have counter spells, let's face it. Always an absolute pain to face because it's just not very... it's not the most fun Magic. Let's put it that way. So let's foretell the Quakebringer. They clearly want to be able to counter something there. Lantern of Revealing, okay. So they've got 5 in hand. Maybe this is actually a great window for the Prosper. Unless, of course, they have Wash Away. Which, luckily, they didn't have. But perhaps they have another answer. We don't really threaten Jace that much because he goes +1. Oh, we literally have a way to deal with it here with the debt to the Kami. So let's make them exile the enchantment. I think this is a really good way to push ahead. And then, yeah, let's just sign in blood. Let's keep filling our hand up with things to do. Because as I said earlier, with the blue deck, they're going to have a lot of answers. They could bounce it back to a hand, exile it. There's a few ways. Mass manipulation. Okay, so they 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they can cast the Hullbreaker in the next turn. That's pretty scary. So I think we are just going to have to kill the Prosper here. That is really sad. Mind control effects. Oof. Leave a bad taste in my mouth. So what can we do now? 3 mana. We could make another treasure. We'll give it the Theatre of Horrors, I think. So if they play the Hullbreaker, they can... Oh, okay, so they don't want to actually cast this. Because I guess they missed a land drop. Going for the milling. And they hit another land, which is non-blue, and play a Mind Stone. Okay. Castle Lock Thwain. So a lot of our spells are looking like they're not going to be able to hit Jace that well. So let's keep digging with the Prosper. Do they have an Essence Scatter perhaps? Disdainful Stroke. Okay. That does suck. As I said, they're just going to be a counter heavy deck. Stealing, bouncing. Probably not even bouncing, to be honest. Milling us along the way. Playing more ramp spells, countering more things. Painful Bond. So we somehow have more cards in our hand than them, so the Rob of the Rich is actually super ineffective here. So let's see if we can resolve this. They may choose to counter it because it has haste. We'll go for the Quakebringer in that case. They didn't really bother about countering this, so let's see what they do here. They do have the Labyrinth, so they can just pay 4 to fog this. But next turn they are going to need more answers for these creatures, because that is 7 damage. Okay. Hopefully they mill something that in our graveyard that requires an escape or a flashback cost. Then it will just be aiding us. But so Flux Channeler plus any spell proliferates Jace now. Okay. So the Quakebringer works really well with the Theatre because it lets us play these spells. Let's go to combat. See if they have any responses to these attacks. I wonder if they'll block. Okay, if that's the case, let's actually save that for the creature, for the Planeswalker, sorry. So we'll give Flux Channeler -5. And then the Demon Bolt can deal 4 to Jace. This taps for blue, so they can actually... So they're going to proliferate. They give us 2 treasures if this resolves. Yep, so let's cast Dual Strike here. That means we get 2 copies of the Demon Bolt. So now we can kill the Flux Channeler and deal 4 damage to the Jace. Okay, that seems pretty good. They also give us 2 treasures, which is kind of awesome. And yeah, I think I'm going to draw the cards here, just because I don't want them to be able to counter this. Power Word Kill, that doesn't really help us. Nice, so we got a Faithless Looting. So that's not a bad hit, it means we can filter our hand a bit. And wow, we actually managed to take down a blue player. That's surprising. They had 4 cards in hand, none of them were good enough to stop us apparently. Okay, looks like we've got ourselves a Rakdos Mirror. Let's see how this goes. They're going to be a Reanimation Shell with the Olivia Crimson Bride, looking to pop stuff into the graveyard and cheat it out. So they're probably going to see Ulamog, and they've mulliganed hard because they're probably looking for a big creature to discard with something like Faithless Looting. And it's always scary to see when people are happy on a 6. Let's go for the Guardian Idol first. Yeah, because that comes in tapped. And there's nothing we could have done with the extra mana from the Signet anyway. So as long as you're aware of stuff like that, it makes your mana a bit more efficient. We could wipe out their Mind Stone if we wanted. Yeah, I think we're going to do that. So we go for the Signet and then kill their rock with our Rock Killer. And that slows them down a turn, which is very important against a deck that's looking to get stuff out very quickly. Sometimes killing 1 rock is enough to win the game as well. I've noticed this before. Florian comes out to play. Okay. Chandra. How much toughness? 4 toughness. So yeah, let's just kill the Florian here. And then we could... Yeah, we'll get the Demon Bolt up, I think, into the territory for 1 red. So we basically have a way to kill their sisters. So they can cast her next turn. But before the attack trigger, we're going to kill her with a bolt, I think. And in that way, they can't actually reanimate anything terrifying. They could discard something huge here. We could also kill the key with the Bedevil. But I think this is actually a good turn for Prosper. So they have to choose here between killing Prosper or reanimating Florian. We'll see what they decide to do. Robber's good to keep us in the game. So we've got 2 in hand and 2 in exile. So they choose to despark, which means they don't get to go for the Sisters of the Undead here. And an Inquisition as well. So they kill the Bedevil. That's a shame. That is a shame. So let's see if we can get the Prosper out again. Man, it's difficult to keep a Prosper out, or any commander these days. As soon as you play your commander, the opponent normally has a way to kill it, and it's an unreasonable amount of times, actually. It's more than not that your general will be killed. Plaguecrafter. Oh, that sucks. Man, they really don't want us to have a Prosper out, do they? Okay. See, this is the advantage of having the Demon Bolt in exile, because the opponent cannot see that. So this is probably a good time for the Chandra to come out to play. Underworld Breach. Yeah, that's not going to cut it, I don't think. We'll just pass the turn. That is sad, because that would have been good to cast some of these things from the graveyard. So before they get a chance to even attack, let's take her out. Yeah, because we don't want to discard a card. If they chose Plaguecrafter, we would have had to discard our Bloodchief's Thirst, which is very cheeky. So we can play the Mind Stone. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they can cast her again, which is kind of annoying. And all we can really do is pass the turn here. So we're probably going to lose the Chandra, sadly. But in our turn, we can Bloodchief's Thirst, killing the Olivia. Once again, the audio's just gone off, and there's nothing I can do about that. Thanks, Wizards. Maybe try and fix your game. Oh no, they're going to make us discard the Bloodchief's Thirst. So what I might have to do is draw a card with the Mind Stone in response to the trigger. And that way, we keep the removal spell. And actually, they chose to attack... Ooh, Lightning Bolt. So that is going to have to be discarded, sadly. Oh, I see. Each player sacks a creature or planeswalker. That's actually really rough. That is really rough. Not happy about that. But nothing else we can really do. Yeah, recurring that is actually nightmarish. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So they're 2 turns away from getting her out again. I could have actually attacked with the Guardian Idol there just to get a trigger with the Temple in Solitude. And we may have even managed to hit a land, but we got one anyway. So let's go for the Solemn. So this will ramp us and help us cast Prosper a little bit easier. Opponent is holding priority for some strange reason without any creatures out, so I wonder what they're intending to do there. So sequencing is important. We want to scry after the land comes in, otherwise the scry would have been wasted. And we could pay 2 attack, but there's nothing we can cast for 0, so we'll just hold off. We can always attack with a Solemn next turn, trigger the Temple in Solitude, and see what we get on the top. Heartless Act kills the Solemn. Quite a hasty use of that, for a number of reasons. They could have just waited until our turn for us to actually attack, or before the attack, but instead they chose to kill it. So that does actually suggest that they have another answer for Prosper. So let's see if we can eke it out of them here. If they use a kill spell on Guardian Idol, the Skull Raid will have a perfect hit of 2 cards out of their hand. And then they'll be wishing they never used this Heartless Act. Okay. So we might as well tap for mana anyway, not that we can use it yet. Because it's the combat's... Oh, no, we can. No, we can't. Yeah, we can if we foretell, because weirdly you can foretell at instant speed. So let's see what these last two pesky cards were. Now they're going to cry into a bucket full of tears. Tibot's Trickery. Okay. They're going to counter our spell and turn it into a creature. So they really wanted to keep that final card in hand. Not sure what that could be. Sign Blood, I see. So it's a way... Well, we don't know if that was the last card, but now they've just turned... Oh my goodness. Okay, Liliana. Do they have any creatures to revive? They could get back Playcrafter or Florian. Seems unlikely. They're probably just going to go for a zombie. Yeah, I'm not actually going to bolt here. Oh no, actually, yeah, I will actually bolt the zombie because now I can attack for 3, which is the same value that when it attacks alone, exile top. Yeah, so that still triggers even if we attack planeswalkers. So let's see what we get here. Come on, give us something good, not just another land. Dream Devourer. Okay, so we go for Prosper, we can go for the land, and the Dream Devourer gets us a treasure. So let's just hope they don't have a board wipe. Another land. My goodness, we are hitting so many lands with Prosper today. I'd say it's a 66% hit rate of lands, which is kind of insane. Considering we have the regulation number about 38 and a few rocks. Just seems unreasonable. Villis. Ooh, okay, that's pretty rough. So whenever they lose life, they're going to draw that many cards. So we are absolutely desperate for a board wipe here. Or not a board wipe, just a way to kill this guy, because it's going to be pretty scary. So let's see if we can... Oh, Belfort, that is literally perfection. So yeah, we're going to want to get rid of Villis, because that is the scarier card. And do they chump? Here, it looks like they do. Okay. Play the land, get a treasure. And we might as well... I think I'm actually going to foretell this for the following turn. Although we get a Chandra for the following turn as well. So this is a really nice follow-up. Now, scarily, they can go for the Olivia 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they can go for the Olivia, swing in, get the number of options, actually. Playcrafter, Henrika Donrathy. I hope they realise I've exiled the Villis. They might be looking a bit hard for that when he's actually not in the graveyard any longer. Florian comes in. So that's going to be 6. It's got first strike. Yeah, that's fine. So luckily we are just going to be able to deal with the sisters. And whenever you don't control a Legendary Vampire, exile it. So yeah, they are... in a little bit of trouble here. We're going to kill the Liliana, kill the sisters. That is a pretty big downside, losing your vampires that you reanimated. Although that is a legendary vampire, isn't it? Okay, so let's see what we can get off here. Treasures, a braid. Okay, we've got some great cards here. Exile the Florian, and there you go, picking up the win through some non-land cards finally. We go first against Goshen Tai. This is always going to be a delight, isn't it? It's kind of like the new... it's basically the new Golos, but for some reason it's haunting the lower tiers. I definitely think there's a degree of... Because it's a new general, they haven't had a chance for the algorithm to really sort itself out. So when a new set comes out, all the new commanders that are OP basically terrorize the format. Yeah, we're past turn here. Our hand is a bit conspicuous because destroying artifacts probably not something they're going to do. Casting spells from the yard. I basically willed that into existence, didn't I? So I can kill that in our next turn. kind of lucky. So yeah, we definitely want to get rid of this. Whoa, that is a weird bit of graphics there. So, go for the land. The Dream Devourer lets us foretell stuff. But yeah, I think the Guardian Idol is probably the best thing to do there. Yeah, then we can pass a turn. So the crazy thing is they can still go for the Goshen tie in the following turn. Because for some reason they decided to make it 3 in green. Which in a design article, I think they said that they wanted to make it easy to cast 5 mana cards. Or 5 CMC, Wubo cards. But the downside of that is they're all just way too powerful. This is why Golos was a problem. I think if Golos was Wuberg in cost, it would have been quite a bit more nerfed. It's just the fact you can just cast him so easily, without thinking about your mana base. Did they just tutor for a land? Potentially. Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. Could be a Prosper turn here. And if we cast this, we actually get a treasure, which is pretty awesome. So don't forget how awesome adventures are with Prosper here. Swords to Plowshares immediately gets rid of him. That's really sad. They're really lucky to have that, Very lucky. The fact that they had to tutor for that as well. Yeah, this is basically the format now. If you get your general out and don't protect him, probably going to lose him. I mean, the same is going to apply here, right? I think we just... no, maybe not. Yeah, we'll save that for now. So, Temple. Let's see something good on top. Sokenzan. It is a land. It is a land, so actually I think I do want to keep this. And we most definitely want to annihilate the Goshen tie. And we even have a blocker. And if they do manage to kill the Embereth Shieldbreaker, we have the Bolt ready. I just didn't want to use it too soon in case there was another card we drew which would have been more effective. Goshen tie of Ancient Wars, first strike. Okay. It's going to deal 1 damage to target player or planeswalker, so we definitely want to kill this. Damn, it didn't even give us the chance to react there, really. It just went straight through to combat and then to the end step. So that is actually pretty irritating. I don't really understand. So it went from main phase instantly through to end step. Kind of crazy. Okay, let's see if we can recover from that stupid mistake. Yeah, that's really annoyed me now. Reminds me of the old bug where it was like something like Goblin Rabble Master or something. Beginning of combat, it would make a 1/1, but in the old build of Arena, it used to skim past that, and you wouldn't get a chance to react to the trigger. Okay, so we kind of potentially get a chance to get it back with the Elders Reborn, so I guess it worked out in the end, but it's just still irritating how it skimmed. It seemingly skimmed through all the phases. This is an end step trigger. In real life, when people announce changing phases, you can actually say respond. But obviously the game doesn't allow you to do that unless you get to full control by pressing control. So that is pretty disingenuous of an ability to not actually allow people to react, because at that point they would always have one shrine, which is just irritating. Okay, so the opponent's got 2 mana open. Curious to see what the... Let's try and cast Elders Reborn, even though they don't have anything. We still get a treasure from this, and we still get to discard a card if this resolves in our next turn. Essentially, it's a free card I don't really want to waste. Sadly, they saw it, so they didn't play any creatures. So they do have a Cultivate in the bin, but they also have the swords, so I'd rather just keep the Direfleet Daredevil hidden information for now. We can also foretell this, weirdly enough. Oh, this is weird. How many options are here? So we can... How does that work? How do you foretell a split card like this? Interesting. I guess in our next turn we can cast either side. I'm not actually quite sure on that. Foretell on a split effect. I'm just going to attack with the Devourer, because they could have some kind of card that only hurts attackers. And I'd rather not lose the Prosper to a stupid attack for one. But don't forget, the turn you foretell, you actually cannot cast a spell. So if you want to do one of these in the same turn as foretelling, be wary of that, because I've been caught out by that before, and you actually don't get to cast it in your turn. You can only cast it in the turn after. So as you can see from the build, we have 3 cards in exile, and that's exactly where we want to be here. As long as Prosper's out, you can essentially chain cards from exile. It's like Exile Storm. Speaking of OP, they use Golos as well in the Goshen Tide deck, so let's try and kill it before they get a land. There's probably no reason to do that there, but I just want to get it off the field. Heroic Intervention. Wow, okay. As if they have Golos as well. This is a tier 1 deck, definitely. So luckily they do have the swords in their bin. So in our turn we're going to go for the Direfleet Daredevil, cast the sword, exiling the Golos, and they are tapped out. The only downside would be is if they had a Pact of Negation. Let's just hope they don't have that. They could discard something even stronger here. Gift. So we could kill the Golos with the power word kill, and then we can just cultivate instead. But I'd rather do this at sorcery speed, where it's a bit more effective. And the audio has just completely died altogether, which is just ridiculous. Or we could just go for the Grim Tutor, in fact. Actually, this is a lot better. We'll go for the Grim Tutor. And then, yeah, we'll go for Bolus of Citadel, so we can play that later on. We can do both, I think. Yeah, we can. So we might as well go with the Citadel. Now we can cast off the top of our deck, and we can also kill the Golos, and it doesn't look like they can respond. A Braid, that's even better. That saves the spell in our hand. And we can get another treasure here. Or we could even cast this to draw a card. Get a treasure. And then we can still cast it from exile, which is really confusing. I don't want to overextend, so let's just attack with what we have. Man, this audio bug is really getting on my nerves. So we can make them sack 2 creatures in their own turn. Ruinous Ultimatum. Wow. That's pretty ludicrous, actually. And there's nothing we can even do about this. So we lose literally everything we have. Probably one of the sweatiest decks / players you'll see. Okay, I guess we can just go for the Foulmire Knight. Man, they loved that Ruinous Ultimatum, didn't they? Jeez. I guess we'll foretell this for the following turn. If we get desperate, we'll be able to use this. But obviously I don't want to use this when we have the Prosper out, but it does actually conveniently deal with the Goshen Tide cast, because it comes in and gives them a body. Honden, so this is life gain, and Sanctum. This is pretty tough to deal with. Let's get a creature. Okay, I think we've got some great things going on here. So we're going to make a creature come back and make them discard. So we're going to get back the Die Fleet. So how do they like the taste of a Ruinous Ultimatum? That's going to be good, isn't it? So we're going to stop them from doing anything. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So yeah, if we go for the Die Fleet, then we can give them a taste of their own medicine here, which is completely deserving, considering what they just did to us. So the cool thing about playing Darkfleet Devil is it gives us another treasure because we cast that from exile as well. Now, their last card is most probably going to be something like Return All Enchantments to play, which is just absolutely horrifying. Supreme Verdict. Okay, it's a lot of destruction effects there. Supreme Verdict in a deck that cares about having shrines out is interesting. So they're completely top decking. The only thing we can really do is hopefully gain a bit of advantage from the Prosper, but we shall see. We just have to hope they don't get any recursion, because if they do manage to get any of these out from the graveyard, we're just doomed. Okay, Goshen Tai. So if this survives somehow, we're going to have a hard time coming back, because they're going to start getting out all their massive shrines. So I think this is a good time to go for the power word kill. And if they do have a counter spell, then in our turn it's tempting to possibly go for the shadow, but yeah, it seems fine here. I would like a way to exile their graveyard. I can't remember how many. Oh, we literally top decked it. So now I feel incredibly safe. If they stifle this, then we know that they care about it, but clearly not stifle. Saunders Lounge. Okay. At least that wasn't a counter spell, so they're going to start getting in a bit of trouble now. As long as they don't have any more bloomin' board wipes, they've already used so many kill spells there. Ooh, Takanuma. We can use this to get something back, although I'm not sure if we can play this. We'll see. This deck is a masquerade, by the way. This was essentially... This general is interchangeable, because the Shrine deck existed. It pre-existed the Goshen Tai. People used to use Kyodai or Golos, but now giving people the Goshen Tai is a very strange... It's a very strange card to give players, because Golos is pretty much ban-worthy, but they chose to not ban it. Instead of banning Golos, they went, oh, let's make something adjacent. And now Goshen Tai exists, which is just weird. Quakebringer's going to be decent because it stops them getting life. So any shrines that gain them life are basically offline as long as this exists. I'll delete Tutor, searching for an enchantment. Now, if this is going to be something like Overwhelming Splendor, we're going to be in a lot of trouble, because it means we can't activate anything as well. Sanctum of All, of course, but they don't have anything in their graveyard to get back. Search a library and or graveyard. Damn, that's crazy. I think I am going to actually sack this to draw a card in hopes of finding something good. Man, that Bajuka Bog was so clutch getting rid of their graveyard. We'd been in a lot of trouble here. So we've got Die Fleet, Daredevil. So we can't use the discard ability. Oh yeah, because it's not in our hand to discard, of course. Let's go for the Tempered and Solitude, and then solo swing with the Quakebringer. This lets us look at the top card. Sadly, it's a land. Okay. So I wonder what they're going to get with the Sanctum here. Order of Midnight's pretty cool. This lets us to get back a creature in our graveyard. So we've got Direfleet again. So they went for the Honden, which lets them draw cards. Man, it's actually super annoying because every time they play the Goshen Tie, they get a blocker. Crux of Fate. Right, so we will decline that. My goodness. So many board wipes. It's kind of disgusting, really. So let's get back Prosper. Man, crazy. Can we just have a turn where they don't have a board wipe, or we just draw a way to draw more cards? Because currently this is kind of ludicrous. Another land. Pretty insane. So now they're going to get another Sanctum trigger. I have no idea how this is going to end. Probably not very well, to be honest. Given the fact they can literally tutor for their most perfect shrine every single turn. Now they've got the tap. And they drew 3 cards. They're on 4 cards from 0. Absolutely ludicrous. Man, Goshen Tie as well. I think the card that's done it for them so far, the most impactful, was the Ruinous Ultimatum. The amount of value that gave them for 1 card. Just feels like an Ugin all over again. If we don't find any more removal here, we're in absolute trouble. So it's another land. So yeah, I think we just lose. Unless we swing in. Okay, so they tap that one. I guess we can still attack with the Prosper here. It's a Solemn, which isn't that useful. They're actually going to trade? That's a strange... Did they realise that has Death Touch? Kind of strange. Yeah, I don't think there's anything we can do here, guys. I mean, we can keep playing Prosper, but they are drawing so many cards per turn here. They're drawing 4 a turn. And I don't know how many times this has been now, but Prosper has literally given us like 3 or 4 lands on top, which is just absurd. We have 57 cards left. And they have 65. We've got so many lands out, but it continues to give us lands. Like, we literally have 3 dead cards in our play zones, because why would I... What am I going to do with these lands, you know? It's just kind of crazy. Yeah, I think I'm just going to concede here, I think, in our next draw step, because as you can see, they have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards, 8 cards in hand. All their creatures have flying and vigilance if they have 7 enchantments. Calyx can just exile Prosper. So yeah, it's a little bit salt-inducing. Well, quite a bit actually. So I think, to be honest, I'm just going to concede here. Cool. That was definitely a painful game there toward the end. We go first against Casimina Enigma Sage. This could be a Super Friends build. Don't really see Casimina that often, which is kind of cool. Each other planeswalker you control has the loyalty abilities of Casimina, so it's a really powerful way of ensuring your other loyalty abilities are actually getting a +2, which is very powerful. I mean, it's the highest you can get, isn't it, +2? So we don't have a way to stop them casting Casimina here, which is kind of scary. However, so they scry 2, it's not the end of the world. But a turn 2 planeswalker is always pretty scary. We have a lot of removal though, so should be good. Question is, do we kill the Kasmina or do we kill the elves? I think we kill the Kasmina, because Scry 2 is...
I have other students too.
There's some strange logic with scrying. Like, people say, like, logistically, scrying 2 or 3 times is the equivalent of drawing a card, because it gets rid of dead cards. And I do see the merit to scrying, so getting rid of that is pretty useful. Because you imagine if you don't scry and you draw a dead card, a dead card is almost like drawing 0 cards, if that makes sense. So they want to counter Prosper, so let's pass the turn. They also attacked with the elves, which is a ballsy move. Little do they know, we just have instants. So we can deal with pretty much any threats on the floor. Here she comes again. So we have yet another way to deal with her. Well, not really actually, because we can't respond by dealing 2, because it's a cost is adding the 2 loyalty, isn't it? Okay, well they've done the scry now. So now we're looking for more answers. I think I might price a fame on the elves just to surveil 2, looking for more answers. Well, they are not lands always to kill Kasmina, sadly, but they were really good cards. Dream Devourer. Let's just go for the Murderous Rider here, I think. Missing a land drop is pretty bad against a blue deck that's looking to go long. Oracle of Muldai, yikes, they're going to get a lot of lands at the top here. 2 lands, in fact, of course. Another land? Flippin' heck. There's a lot of lands at the top. And they can also scry with the Kasmina, which is... To think these lands were there pre-scry. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they've got 50% more lands than us. It's going to be pretty rough to get back from this. Creating another blocker as well. Let's get rid. And then let's see how much they value the Oracle here. Do they lose the Oracle? No, they lose the Kasmina. Okay. I mean, I guess the irony is they can just replay her. Or, you know, create a Hoof Behemothus. Which is a normality in this game. The good old Crater Hoof. And of course a Nissa's on top, which is spells doom, especially when they have 5 forests out already. That's going to be an absolute nightmare to deal with. And a Great Henge. We can actually deal with both of these, which is quite amusing with the Culligan's Command. So let's see if we can. That's a pretty awesome hit for 3 mana if this resolves. They could have Heroic Intervention here, which they don't. But Nissa coming down next turn is going to be very problematic. Skull Raid's not so effective. I think priming some removal is probably going to be more important here. Swinging in for some damage. Now their general does cost 7 mana, so it's unlikely we'll see her anytime soon. Although okay, that was kind of weird. They tapped all the forests to cast Nissa, so that's a pretty huge misplay. Yeah, that was kind of big, because they only needed to tap 2 forests to cast her, so they could have tapped these 2 blues. Baleful Mastery, that's an answer. Let's see if we can make them sack a creature, so they actually lose 2 forests this way. And if they allow this to happen, we can just swing in at Nissa, take it down a little bit. Counterspell means that we can just straight up exile Nissa, which is just perfect. And I think that worked out in our favour, because now they lose the double mana, which was probably going to win them the game. Yeah, I mean they still have a lot of mana, so still going to be pretty hard to get back from this. Wow, they really like this Kasmina, don't they? So little do they know, we can deal with that as well. Well, we can deal... Yeah, actually we can kill her, because we'll... 3, 4, 5. Yeah, foretell that and exile the land. So once again, we will reduce them to nothing. They don't seem to care. Oh no, it's got vigilance. Makes sense. So yeah, we'll make them exile a creature they control. So that's another land they've lost. And then yeah, we'll foretell the spell that has foretell. I guess that doesn't really make too much difference. Take care of Casimir. And I'm still scared of what they have in their hands because 4 cards is 4 times more than what we have. They've shown that they're using super powerful cards, so that's definitely an indication. Turn Timber Symbiosis, so Bioessence Hydra, so we can get rid of this as well, which is something that I want to do. Cool. So we are slowly but surely getting there. It's just if they keep drawing 2-for-1s, it's a bit rough. Let's just foretell that as well. Yeah, that was a misplay. I could have done 2 extra damage there. Hopefully that doesn't matter. Hydroid Krasis would be awful. Right, so they're down to the crappy cards now. I really want them to play 1 more card so our Skull Raid hits 2. So they did have a counterspell. Okay. So we can get a creature back. So maybe we go for the Prosper first. See if they counter that. Wow, okay. We don't have any creatures in the graveyard. This is an insane amount of kill spells we've had. That is actually ridiculous. Look at all these instants. That's weird. So yeah, let's swing in here for 2 damage. And I suppose we can try and get rid of a couple cards. Might not work, but... have they used all their good cards? What the hell, man? What the heck? River's Rebuke and a Temporal Summoning. So what the heck is in their hand? They discarded 2 of the best blue cards ever made. Coma. Right, okay. It all makes sense now, doesn't it? Wow, they valued a Coma over... I guess it makes sense. Oh. Oh, okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, what do we have? That's 5. We need more mana. We just need a little bit more mana. So, let's cast the Professional Facebreaker. So we're basically setting up for the following turn. So, yeah, let's foretell this guy. Yeah, and pass. So it is scary them having a Coma. However, if we get to resolve a River's Rebuke or a Temporal Sundering, we might be golden. They're actually functionally very similar here, because if we bounce all their stuff, it's like we took an extra turn, and if we can bounce one thing, take an extra turn. Either way, it's all good. But I think now they've gone for this, then yeah, the Rebuke is looking really good here. This Direfleet Daredevil is so juicy, man. It's so good. Whenever one or more creatures you control to create a treasure. So yeah, this is going to be great as well. Exile on top card lets us get more treasures by playing more stuff in exile. They're going to swing. I think we can afford to take 6, get to 20. I really like the Direfleet Daredevil in a number of ways, because it also punishes people who just use all the best cards, because it means that we get to use their best cards too. And I don't really feel guilty because they've done it to us, or they tried to. And if they kill it, we can get it back with the Ghost Lantern. Right, first things first, cast the Daredevil. Now, if they have a Pact of Negation, our entire plan is ruined. So let's see. Yeah, we're going to Rebuke. We'll target that. So that will slow them down significantly. We're going to be able to swing in here. And then their next turn... Wow, defeat them with their own rebuke. That's insanity. That felt incredible. Don't forget to check out more of my videos and also my Ko-fi donations page. You can donate as little or as much as you want.